Hey guys, it's Dr. Brown, and tonight we're looking into 6th grade, the least common multiple and greatest common factor. There's a little bit of confusion out there, and because I know we've already had a video on this, but I want to clarify a few things that might help. Okay, when you think about the least common multiple, what that means, the least means the smallest. Multiple, this means that it's something that you're multiplying. Like for example, 4. Let's think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Multiples of 4 would be, take 4 times 1 is 4. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. These are multiples of 4. I multiplied by an integer. And of course 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just keep going. Those would be multiples of 4. So let's say I have 10 is another number I want to evaluate. What would be the multiples of 10? Well, 10 times 1, 10. 10 times 2, 20. 10 times 3, 30. 10 times 4, 40. 10 times 5, 50. And again, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 goes out to infinity as multiples of 10. So if someone said, what is the least common, in other words, the smallest, and the word common means it can be found in both of these rows somewhere, if it exists. And if I had 10 rows of data, I would be looking for what's common or in all. Just think about common means in all. So now, least common multiple means the smallest multiple that can be found in all of these rows that I'm evaluating. And when I say the least, I'm trying to find the smallest one. So I start here and I start working my way down. Well, I have a 20 here. Where can I find a 20? Oh, here's one. Well, let's see, is there a number smaller? 16, 12, 8, 4, no. So 20 is the least common multiple between 4 and 10. Okay, let's use the method that we've been using. If I can stretch my cord out here without losing it. Okay, I have a 4 and a 10. And they're both even, so I'm going to divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, I'm going to divide again by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Bring down the 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And bring down the 1. I'm going to do one more thing here. I'm going to divide by 1 because, well, we'll run an example later and you'll see why. Okay, so that gives me 1 divided by 1 is 1, 1 divided by 1 is 1, but it gives me every number I can deal with now is in this column. I don't have to grab numbers from anywhere else. This is important, especially when you do the greatest common factor. Okay, so now what do we have? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 20. So my least common multiple equals 20. Well, we just determined that by doing it the old school way. The new school way is here. So we get the smallest number that's a multiple, and it can be found in all of the rows or columns, depending on how I'm looking at this and where I'm evaluating. So 20 is found here, 20 is there. That's the least multiple of a 4 and a 10. Okay? Now, let's think about greatest common factor. What is a factor? If I have a 4, the factors are something that multiply together to give me 4. So if I'm looking at 4, well, that's 1 times 4, 2 times 2. So the factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4. Let's do the same thing with 10. Well, it's 1 times 10 would give me 10. 2 times 5 would give me 10. That's it. Okay. Now then, what's the greatest, I should write that down, greatest common factor? Remember, common was where we said it's going to be in both, or however many rows we have, it's going to be in all of them. Factor is things that multiply together to give me the numbers that's in question. Greatest means the largest. So let me start over here. Well, is there a 10 in this row? No. Is there a 5 in this row? No. Oh, here's a 2. 2 can be found in both. So can a 1. But it's the greatest, the largest common factor, the largest factor that can be found in all of these. And the answer is 2. Well, how can we use the method? Let's see, let me get this out of the way. So we found 2 here. Let me take 4, and now I'm going to look at each term individually. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. I have a 1, 2, and a 2. Okay? Let me do the 10. 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Of course, you know we're doing these because they're even. If they were odd, we'd have to pick a different number, obviously. Okay, 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. So now I have a 2, 5, and a 1. Well, what factors? Now keep in mind, this is the greatest common factor. I have a 2 here and a 2 there. So greatest common factor equal, I have a 2 in both. I have a 2 and a 5, 1 and 1. So I could say I could put my 1 there. Okay. Greatest common factor is 2 times 1, which is 2. Which is exactly what we said here. Okay. Now there's a reason I'm doing the 1. Earlier, and when we had a lesson, we just stopped at 1 here, but with one of the problems we worked, and we're going to work that same problem here, I'll show you why it makes sense to do this. Does it take a little longer? Yes. But until you get comfortable getting the correct answer, you might want to slow down and think about the method that helps you be correct, and then speed it up later. Okay, we'll get to that. But if we're in a hurry to get the wrong answer, that's no good. Okay, all right. Let's pick a different problem here. What about 8 and 20? We'll start with some easy ones here. 8 and 20. And we're going to, I guess I could scoot over. Let me get over here. Hang on. All right, 8 and 20. Since they're both even, I'll divide by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Bring down the 5. Okay, so 5 divided by 5 is 1. Bring down the 1. 1 divided by 1. Okay, okay, that gives me those numbers. 1, 2, 3. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. Okay, my least common multiple, you can write this in different ways. 2 to the third times 5, well, times 1. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. 8 times 5 equals 40. My least common multiple equals 40. Okay? What about my greatest common factor? Again, what's a factor? Numbers that, like 8. The factors of 8. Okay? 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. Those are those are multiples. My bad. Those are multiples. The factors, this may be why you're confused. Those were multiples. The factors of 8 would be 8 times 1, or 1 times 8, I should say. Where did the eraser go? All right, factors of 8. I've got 1 times 8, 2 times 4, and that's all I have. Factors of 20. Okay, I've got 1 times 20, 2 times 10, 3 doesn't go, 4, 4 times 5. Okay, so I can see that the greatest common factor, I don't have an 8 down here. Oh, I have a 4. So I have some 4s. I don't have 5 10s. The greatest common factor is 4. So let's see if we get that. Sorry for the confusion on the multiples and the factors. That's the purpose of the video. Okay, greatest common factors. Let's take 8 and let's look at it individually. 2, 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 divided by 1. Okay, now then 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Okay. We have a 2 and a 2. And again, these 2's don't have to be in the same row. It's just that they have to be somewhere in the column. So the greatest common factor is 2. And we have another 2. Times 2, and I don't have a 5, but I have a 1, okay? I have a 1 and a 1. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 1 is 4. So the greatest common factor is 4, just like we had earlier when we did it the old school way. Okay? All right, let's keep rolling. Before we do, what are the multiples of 6? Multiples, just to clear this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. That would be multiples of 6. Let me think of another number here. What about 30? Well, we have, what's the multiples of 30? Well, 30 times 1 is 30. 30 times 2 is 60. Well, 6 times 5 is 30. We could see that the least common multiple of 6 and 30 would be 30, because it's in both of them here. That's the way that works. All right, let's pick one more here. We've got 20, 48, and 60. Whoa. Let's see what we can do here. We want to find the least common multiple and the greatest common factor. Okay? They're all even. I'll pick a 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 48 divided by 2 is 24. 60 divided by 2 is 30. Pick 2 again. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 30 divided by 2 is 15. Let's see. I'll pick a 5 here. 5 divided by 5 is 1. Bring the 12 down. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Let's take and pick a 3. Bring the 1 down. 12 divided by 3 is 4. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Pick a 2. Bring the 1 down. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Bring the 1 down. 2 divided by 2. Bring the 1 down. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1. Bring the 1 down. So, okay, I'll put my 1 here. 1 divided by 1 gives me that. Okay, I have all of those. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. So these two are 4. These two are 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 3. So I have 16 times 3. I guess these numbers. And which is 48, by the way. 48 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40. Bring the 4. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 4, 240. My least common multiple is 240. Okay? The greatest common factor, I'm going to look at each of these individually. So 20 divided by 2, 10. Divided by 2 is 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Okay? 48 divided by 2 is 24. Divided by 2 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Okay? 60. And you're probably thinking, why you do this? Boy, the very next problem you're going to see. Okay, 60, even number, divided by 2 is 30. Divided by 2 is 15. Divided by 5 is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Now then, what's common? Because we're trying to find the greatest common factor. So we have a 2. I'm going to pick this 2 just to show you that it doesn't have to be in the same row. That 2 and this 2. So, greatest common factor equals 2, because that was in all of them. Okay, greatest common. Common means in all. All right, do we have another set of 2's? I have that 2, and that 2. So 2 times the next 2. Do I have a 5? I have a 5 here, but I don't have a 5 there. I do have a 1, a 1, a 1, times 1. 2 times 2 is 4, times 1 is 4. Okay? So my greatest common factor equals 4. All right. One more really good one. Okay, and this one, I'm going to show you why it's probably best to put the 1, take it all the way down to a 1. And we're going to see why. All right, 28, I have 28, 64, and 49. All right, I'm going to do a 7. 28 divided by 7 is 4. Bring down to 64, because 9 times 7 is 63, so that 7 won't go. 49 divided by 7 is 7. Okay, this is why it's important to study your multiplication tables. Okay, now then, let's take and do a 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 64 divided by 2 is 32. And bring the 7 down. Okay, let me do 2 again. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 32 divided by 2 is 16. Bring the 7 down. I think 7's going to ride along for a ways. Do 2 again. Bring the 1 down. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Bring the 7 down. 2 again. Okay. 1 and 7 are just taking a ride here. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Bring the 7 down. Let's do 2 again. Bring the 1 down. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Bring the 7 down. Okay, I'm going to do 2 one more time. So we'll bring the 1 down. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Bring the 7 down. Now I'm going to do a 7. So bring the 1 down. Bring the 1 down. 7 divided by 7 is 1. And now 1 divided by 1 is 1, 1, and 1. So I have a 1 here. Now what do we have? So we have 7 times 7. So I have these two. So this is my least common multiple. So I have 7 squared. 7 times 7, right? 7 to the 2nd power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Times 2 to the 6th power times 1. Okay, 7 to the 2nd power is 49. 2 to the 6th power, 2 times is 64, but you can get that by 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, times 2 is 64. So I have 49 times 64, and actually I've already, in the sake of time, I have the number written down. It's 3,136. So the least common multiple is 3,136. Okay? What about the greatest common factor? Greatest common factor. Let's look at 28. We're going to look at each one individually. 28 divided by 2 is 14. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Okay? All right, 64. And by the way, spread this out in your paper. Make it neater so that you can keep up with what row is what. And because sometimes you see people, the students make them oops simply because they can't see what's going on in their paper. I've got something popped up on my computer screen here. Excuse me just a second while I clear that off. Okay, 64, even number. So 64 divided by 2, that's 32. 32 divided by 2 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. 49. 49 divided by 7 is 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Now, what's common? Remember, we're looking for greatest common factors. I have a 2 here, a 2 there. I don't have any 2s. I have a 7 here. I don't have any 7s in this one. but I have a 7 there. So I don't have a 7 in all three. What number do I have in all three? Hopefully you're screaming into the monitor going, 1. I have a 1, a 1, and a 1. That's why if you'll go ahead and get the 1, take it all the way down to a 1, and get that 1 in the column, you're just evaluating this column, and this column, and this column to see what's common or which means it's in all of them. So my greatest common factor for those is 1. Okay, before we shut down, let's take one more moment and let's talk about multiples and factors. What would be the multiples of 8? It means 8 times 1 is 8. So we're looking at multiples of 8. 8 times 2, 16. 8 times 3, 24. 8 times 4, 32. Now you'll notice in between every one of these is 8 units. It's multiples of 8. That's why the term, they call it the multiples. Okay. Now the factors, it's what can be multiplied to each other to give me 8. So the factors, this is multiples. Factors, I have factors of 8. Okay, it's 1 times 8, 2 times 4. That's it. 1, 2, 4, 8 would be factors of 8. So that's multiples. This is factors. Okay, hopefully this helps clear up some things. Let me know if we need to work more problems, what type of problems, and we'll try to help you out. So you guys have a wonderful night. Oh, why are we doing this? So that together we can build a better tomorrow. Okay? So that's all for now. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.